The Zhuangzi, also known as Zhuangzi, attributed to the Taoist sage Zhuangzi, circa 369 to 286 BCE, is one of the most significant texts in Taoism. Unlike the Tao Te Ching, which provides a more structured and formal outline of Taoist philosophy, the Zhuangzi is a deeply eclectic, whimsical, and imaginative work. It consists of philosophical stories, parables, and anecdotes that explore profound themes related to the nature of reality, the concept of the Tao, and human existence. Through its playful and sometimes paradoxical narrative style, the Zhuangzi challenges conventional thinking, offering deep insights into the complexity and mystery of life and the limitations of human understanding. At the heart of the Zhuangzi lies the idea that reality is subjective and that human perception is inherently limited. Zhuangzi uses vivid and engaging stories to illustrate that how humans experience the world is often distorted by their own attachments, desires, and fixed beliefs. A famous and well-loved allegory in the text is the tale of Zhuangzi dreaming he was a butterfly. In the story, Zhuangzi reflects on the nature of existence, wondering if he is Zhuangzi who dreamed he was a butterfly, or if he is a butterfly dreaming he is Zhuangzi. This story encapsulates the Taoist notion that reality is fluid, impermanent, and ultimately beyond the grasp of rigid, logical thinking. The dream metaphor illustrates how human consciousness can only perceive a small fragment of reality and is limited by its subjective experiences. The Zhuangzi critiques the human tendency to impose rigid categories and distinctions on the world, particularly in moral and social contexts. Concepts such as good and bad, right and wrong, and even life and death are treated as relative, arbitrary constructs that limit understanding and cause unnecessary suffering. Zhuangzi argues that when people rigidly define these dualities, they only create confusion and dissatisfaction. For example, in one story, Zhuangzi narrates how a person becomes deeply troubled by the question of whether a fish is happy or not, missing the point that happiness is beyond human classification and cannot be boxed into arbitrary terms. Through such stories, Zhuangzi invites readers to see beyond such dualities and embrace the inherent unity and interdependence of all things, as viewed from the Taoist perspective. Another core theme of the Zhuangzi is the emphasis on spontaneity and freedom. Zhuangzi repeatedly suggests that true wisdom and liberation come from transcending conventional modes of thinking and embracing the natural flow of life. Central to his philosophy is the Taoist principle of wu-wei, non-action or effortless action. Rather than imposing control or forcing outcomes, Zhuangzi advocates for living in accordance with the Tao by allowing life to unfold naturally and spontaneously. In one well-known allegory, Zhuangzi describes a carp turning into a giant fish and a great bird flying into the sky, symbolic of how an individual must seek freedom, transcend earthly limitations, and embrace the natural flow of existence. These stories suggest that wisdom lies in adapting to the Tao, rather than resisting or imposing one's will. Additionally, the Zhuangzi emphasizes the rejection of ego and the notion of self-importance. Zhuangzi often humorously critiques the pride and pretensions of scholars, officials, and other figures of authority who believe they possess absolute knowledge or control over life. In contrast, Zhuangzi advocates for humility, a deep recognition of the limits of human understanding, and a release from the ego. Taoist thought, as expressed in the Zhuangzi, posits that true wisdom comes not from a rigid sense of self, but from the ability to see beyond the ego and embrace the mystery and fluidity of existence. This perspective encourages humility and openness, fostering a sense of oneness with the natural world. The Zhuangzi also approaches the concept of death in a unique and refreshing way. Unlike conventional views, which often treat death as something to be feared, avoided, or resisted, Zhuangzi presents death as a natural part of the continuous cycle of life. Death, like birth, is simply another stage in the flow of existence, and to fear it is to misunderstand the nature of life itself. Through allegories and philosophical reflection, the Zhuangzi encourages readers to adopt a more relaxed, accepting attitude toward death and change. Rather than resisting the inevitable, the text advocates for embracing death as a natural transition, akin to all other aspects of existence. By letting go of the fear of death, individuals can live more freely and harmoniously with the flow of life. Ultimately, the Zhuangzi is a philosophical text that encourages readers to relinquish their attachment to rigid beliefs, social conventions, and the ego. The text highlights the importance of spontaneity, freedom, and a deep connection with the natural world. By illustrating its themes through humor, paradox, and metaphor, the Zhuangzi invites readers to reconsider their conventional views of reality and live in a way that is fluid, open-minded, and harmonious. In doing so, it aligns with the broader Taoist tradition of embracing the unknown, recognizing the impermanence of all things, and cultivating a life of wisdom, simplicity, and peace. Through its playful approach to deep philosophical questions, the Zhuangzi remains a timeless and transformative work that continues to inspire those seeking to live more fully in harmony with the Tao.